All right, what is going on, Haunt Nation? I am Ant. This is.
T.
Wasn't sure if you're going to do it because you're mid
I can multitask.
I know, you're trying to get it lit, so kind of need a little bit of time.
Little nod.
And anyway, this is going to be a review for Blood Prison in Mansfield, Ohio, at the Ohio State Reformatory.
Yep.
Pretty famous building. No real famous prisoners that were there, but they did shoot Shawshank.
Yeah, that's what they bank
Redemption.
on, is all the Shawshank references.
They do tours and shit during the year, but come Halloween time, they have a haunt. I went, I believe, last year by myself, and I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I was able to drag this motherfucker out this year. So we went. Free parking on site, which is always a plus, which is always welcome. Timed entry, although,
So packed that it really didn't fucking matter.
right. So, timed entry equaled us standing on the line for our time. We got there, say 9 o'clock
For a
little after
9:30.
for a 9:30, and we got to stand on the 9:30 line, which then got to stand on the regular line.
Yeah,
at 9:30.
we didn't get in till easily 10:45, maybe 10:30.
Probably around 10:30. Yeah, so lines are long. If you're looking to get in and out, maybe do something else. A fast pass is probably, or the VIP fast pass is probably for you.
Right.
Tickets weren't crazy. I think they were $35 a piece.
For the original ticket.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
Right.
the ticket.
Right.
To get in. That's
Right.
And then of course, add more on there when you want the fast pass or the VIP fast pass. They also sell a touch pass, which should be more interactive, and the actors will touch you, manhandle you.
Right. Now
And-
this is new to me, because in the previous haunt seasons, at least with me, there are haunts that touch you. There are haunts that don't.
And if
you
you
never
don't-
had to, the only thing that
If you
I
don't
have
wanna
seen,
get
if you
touched-
don't want to get touched, you get the pussy necklace. But
Right. The
apparently,
glow-in-the-dark necklace.
right? Apparently, we had to wear the pussy necklace because we thought it was okay to get touched.
Right. Well,
so that was kind of
it kind of makes you stand out more in the dark room, don't it?
yeah.
So yeah, there is a touch pass. I think they charge $10 there, right?
Right.
Roughly, $10. Of course, there's ticket and fees. Tickets, you get them online. Yada yada yada. They
Right.
scan them when you go in. Touch pass was not worth it in this haunt.
No.
Not at all. I mean, people walk by. Some of them, give you a little touch in the hair, maybe a little light grab here and there.
Right.
But really didn't add much to the experience.
Right.
I say save your money.
Yeah.
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 If you want to waste $10, put it towards your VIP entrance. That'll get you in faster.
Right.
Metal detectors on scene, so they are checking to make sure nobody walks in. Big clear signs.
Yeah.
No knives, guns.
Right.
Somebody walked in with pepper spray, and they were
Yeah,
like, "Really?
yeah.
Why would you bring it?"
Right.
But I digress. We go through this shit all the time.
Yeah.
Don't understand.
If you're too afraid, don't go.
Right. If
Don't
you're
bother
so-
these actors
if you're-
that are trying to entertain you. You know.
If you think you have to defend yourself in the haunted house that you're paying to go into,
Yeah, just don't
fucking
fucking
don't
go.
go. Stay home. Watch a horror movie.
Right.
Shoot your TV. Fucking clownery. Anyway, so initially to bring us, we had our touch passes.
Right.
Initially to get in, they were bringing us in big groups of like 30 or so.
Yeah.
And then T was getting all panicky. I said,
Yeah.
that's just to get in the building. Lots of security in the building, police, but they're just there. They're not
Right.
in the haunt.
Right.
Go up the stairs. There's the obligatory photo taking,
Right.
which you take a photo in front of the widow, who is their iconic character, just like a very, very tall, like 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah.
Ghostly, vampirely woman with very jagged teeth.
Right. Which we'll get to in a little while. That has
Right.
absolutely nothing to do with the fucking haunt, which was disappointing to me because she was such a prolific line creeper.
Right. She was outside
That-
creeping
yeah.
the line. They had some really cool costumes. Some kind of Big Daddy looking dude. If you look on the Instagram page, you'll see it there. There was also like a zombified girl who actually had the opaque white
That
contacts.
looked great.
in,
Yeah, she looked great.
and she was drooling on herself, and
Yeah.
I like really fantastic job, really into
Yeah.
it. You know, even as a line creeper, just great. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, we all know our boy Frankie. Frankie's the ultimate
Line creeper.
We love that
right.
dude.
Right.
But this girl was right up there.
Yeah.
So after the obligatory photo of your group, they send you in. So there's really not much lead time between groups going in after the photo. You're talking maybe because they're running people through.
Right.
Stand
yeah, but I
ready,
mean, granted,
look.
I mean, it was fucking packed.
It was.
It
was.
packed.
It was packed. So like maybe 20 seconds between groups.
Yeah.
Maybe
and,
20 seconds.
And groups of like 10 or
Well,
more.
and it depends. It's your group. So we went in a group of 3, you know, and then the group behind us went in a group of however many.
Yeah.
But they only had the time.
But ultimately, it's a conga line.
Yes, because they only had the amount of time it took them to go stand there, cheese, picture, get the fuck out next.
Right.
You know, so the first part of the haunt start out like a, you know, walking almost through a house in an old town kind of thing. Really, absolutely gorgeous sets, fantastic costuming. All of the actors are completely, definitely into it. Just wonderful. I mean, you know, again, I'll say this a lot, but and you know, maybe more than I should, but honestly, like Hollywood quality sets. You could walk in and shoot right there.
Well, and the cool thing about the prison is you're at legitimately Ohio State Reformatory.
Right, but
so,
in that first section of the haunt that we went through, you couldn't tell you were in a prison.
Right.
It looked like you were in either in a small town in certain sections, walking through, you know, between buildings, or in an open room or in an open kitchen,
Right.
walking through a closet and ending up in somebody's bedroom. Just really beautiful sets, well done. All the great costuming, and again, all the actors were into it.
Right.
Some animatronics through, right?
Some.
Not a ton.
Right.
Which is fine, because animatronics can be really obtrusive, and then you have the pacing issue with mistriggerings, misfirings.
Especially when the spacing is shit.
Right. So, you know, then you go downstairs through the only thing really that resembled a prison at that point, which I think there were actually people, if I remember correctly, in like the orangish prison garb.
Yeah. Not many though.
But
Definitely not many.
through the prison like area, very creepy, very dark. Also great sets. And then eventually come out, and then you go into the second section. So this is all in a prison, but it's sectioned out into different types of haunts.
Like
so
different themes.
You have like 4 themes, right?
Right.
So you have the house theme, which leads you down into the catacombs underneath, which
Right.
is like a prison type catacomb underneath, and then you come out. And then the next section was
Like a military.
military
type of,
war
yeah.
kind of theme, which is actually in the prison cell block proper. So cell blocks aren't very wide, maybe 25 feet wide,
If that, yeah.
you know, not including the space of the prison cells themselves,
Right.
which you can't go into.
Right.
But very tall. We're talking like 5-6 stories of prison.
Right.
You know?
Which I mean, not for nothing, but to me it was the coolest part of the whole fucking thing.
Right. So I'm looking at beautiful art. You know, the architecture's there. You can see all the way up, but you don't ever get to go up on any of those levels. You
Right.
don't get to interact or get dragged into a cell or
Right.
go
Right,
into
right, right.
any of the cells. So you're just kind of in this 25-foot wide open space,
Right.
either going left and right or at certain points forward and backward. But
Right.
you can really see a lot of where you're going. Like there was one point where we were walking 20 feet forward around a fence, and then 20 feet back,
Right.
and then 20 feet back up again.
Right.
And it's just, I get it. It's there to lengthen the experience,
Right.
but it's a fence.
And nothing was really going on.
Right. I
in
think,
that
you know, there was
area.
there was one actor in the fence, but, you know, there's not a ton going on. But again, the actors that were there were doing their job. They were into it. T was annoyed by the music. There was some kind of loud music
Well,
it.
here's the thing.
It wasn't even like creepy, like
right. It
Halloween
wasn't
type
even
music.
ambiance music. It was just like, to me, it sounded like a
It-
rave.
Honestly, it could have been the music from outside because it was.
Yeah.
The music from outside was probably leaking through. Because,
And it was fucking loud. I mean, just and again, it had nothing to do with the atmosphere of what was going on. That was what was annoying me.
Right.
I was like, dude, enough of this fucking rave music. Like, let's get some ambiance. What's going on? What, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, but they do have some pretty cool stuff in that prison cell area. You know, like they did have a fucking tank in there, which is pretty fucking amazing. But appropriately themed for a war zone, but nothing to really tell you what was going on. Right.
Right,
There's another
right.
section where it was like they looked like they were burning bodies, and there was burnt imagery and burnt people, and almost looked like the floor underneath was supposed to be like on fire, you know. But for as good as it was, a little misdirected. So out of there,
Carnival.
into the
Clown
Carn
house,
Evil.
yeah.
So again, same kind of deal. It's in another section of, narrow prison. So you're kind of walking sideways, up and down, sideways, and there are a lot of appropriately costumed
Right.
clowns.
But again, instead of having like a big top circus auditory experience, it was just this fucking rave junk that you've heard since you walked in. That's, that was my gripe.
Well, the one thing I'll say is I did not hear any of that music when we were up in the first section, in the house section, and the same thing in the last section. So yeah, you could hear it in the clown in the Carn Evil section. You could definitely hear it in the prison section. And again, I think those are because where they are, you're near closer to the outside of the prison, where they have that music. Like you can hear it from the parking lot.
Right. So they're trying to
And
drown
it's loud.
out. Yeah.
So yeah, again, it just twists and turns, and then eventually the Carn Evil turned into something else, and then we walked through whatchamacallit, like a church kind of.
Yeah, that really was out of place.
It was, but it was still cool scenery, and there I saw some of the coolest animatronics because they almost had like wafy zombie, and they were just kind of gently like moving. They weren't making noise. They weren't snapping back and forth and hissing.
Right.
They were just kind of gently moving. I thought that was really cool and appropriate for that scene.
Right.
When we walked up to that scene. But again, the scenes are kind of blending into each other.
Right. With no real cohesion.
And if you know any, we kind of did walk through a different area, because remember, you came out of the Carn Evil, you went kind of through drapery, and then it was like almost like a laboratory front, like a building. I think it had German on it, and then we walked into there, and then that was kind of like walking through almost maybe like an asylum type thing, and then out into the courtyard, and then into the. So it was separate from the carnival.
Right.
It was separated.
But just didn't make much sense.
Right. And again, for as much as there was to it, there was nothing to really tell you what you were walking into or what was going on.
Right.
Through and after that section, they had a really cool animatronic after that section, but we were halfway up the stairs to the next area.
Before they set it off, yeah.
And the final area for me, which was the better area, actually, I think that might have been the other area. No, it was the fourth area. But we went down into another
section of
like a basement area of the prison, and they had that set up like it was all a laboratory and experiments and everything. And I thought a lot of the stuff down there was really cool and really well done. And I was like, but the first section and the last section were definitely my favorites. The other two sections were kind of
just mismatched,
and a little thrown together, if you will. But yeah, the last section I really enjoyed as much as the first section. Maybe more than, but I really enjoyed those two. And the actors down in that last section were really, very, very like into it, and they were a little more hands-on too.
Right,
I
right,
think.
right.
That was like some of the few places we actually got touched.
Right.
Other than that, after that, come upstairs. There's the place to look at your pictures. There's a little coffee shop that had a few different kinds of coffee, and then they had their gift shop.
Really,
they were like
hazard gift shop. Like
two-
what? Yeah.
the gift shop again. I know
Most
I probably
mostly
said this.
Shawshank
Exactly.
material. Yeah.
Mostly about the prison tours, and I think they had maybe 2 T-shirts that had to do with Blood Prison, which were underwhelming.
Right.
A couple little Blood Prison things here and there. They had some coffee that was kind of Blood Prison themed.
Right. Right.
But back to what you said earlier. They talk about or they advertise the bride.
Yeah.
We didn't see the bride anywhere.
Anywhere.
Or the widow, whatever.
Yeah. She had nothing to do with any of the sections.
She was nowhere.
And nowhere inside.
She was there. She was outside.
Well, but she was a
which
line
is better
creeper.
than which is better than when we've gone to Dent several times and never seen the
Schoolmaster,
yeah.
mother. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've never seen her live. Not to say she's not there, but I've been there,
Yeah. Never.
5, 6 plus times. and
Even the
I've
2 or
never-
3 times I was with you, still
Never
never.
seen her. So, I will say, it would have been nicer to incorporate her in there, some kind of
Just to make sense.
overarching story. I think both of us would have enjoyed more if there was in those prison sections, if it had more of a
More
prison
to do
theme.
with a prison. It's like it had such a gorgeous structure.
Right. Grab a couple
You know?
people with the touch pass, throw them in a cell for a few seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes more sense to me. Use the structure.
And you know what, bro? Yeah, I gotta say, if something like that would have happened, I would have less to bitch about everything else that I didn't enjoy, because that would have made it so much more enjoyable. Just that one friggin' thing that I would be able to dismiss like some of the other stuff that was like,
So
you know.
I know it sounds like a bitch fest, but
Right.
I'm going to tell you honestly, I'm not bitching about it. I'm just nitpicking little things that I saw. Not a terrible, huge amount of changes from what I saw last year. Definitely some changes, but not a huge amount of changes. But again, the costuming was on point. The actors were all into it. No bullshit rubber masks. No
Right.
fucking Spirit Halloween costumes. Good prosthetic makeups when we saw them. Good paint makeups. People having teeth and
Right.
and contacts in.
Right.
The scenes range from Hollywood level, like the initial first part of the haunt. And
Right.
you could even count the last end of the haunt. To somewhat still good scenery, but just kind of like the carnival was by far the biggest disappointment, because there's like nothing like when you walk into the carnival section
Right.
in Dent, although it doesn't make sense for the flow. You just walk through a fucking door and you were just in a
basement.
in like a sewer.
Yeah.
And then you pass through a thing, and now I'm in a fucking carnival. Although that doesn't make sense for a flow, the scene when you're looking around, it looks like you're in a fucking carnival. This looks like you're in a prison with different, like different clown things around.
Right.
So again, it sounds like a bitch fest, but it really isn't. End of the day, I enjoyed Blood Prison a lot. I think he enjoyed it a little less because he had his
I had the
hopes
bar
high.
set very, very high.
Yeah, your hopes high, especially after our first haunt, which you can check out that review too.
And
But-
that's the thing. We didn't mention that this was the second haunt of the night.
It was our second haunt of the night.
And the first haunt was spectacular. So not only did I have my hopes up because I love the idea of the haunted prison, we also came from a spectacular fucking haunt.
Right.
Which we'll get into in the next review.
All right. So, Blood Prison, my review for the 2025 season. Even though it sounds like I'm bitching, they're still going to get an 8.0. Still a great haunt, a long haunt. Took us
Maybe half hour.
no more. No,
Really?
More, yeah. Because remember, we didn't get out of there until it was about an hour that we got out from when we got in. We didn't get out of there until after 11:30. But that includes lines. So again, in between each of these
And
things,
dicking around at the coffee
in,
shop.
in between
you
each
know.
of these things, they do queue you up in a new line, so they are
Right.
separate. Line management is shit.
Mhm.
They are throwing you through once you get through that initial take the photograph, you know, in your
They're
group,
just filing you.
then they're just filing you through in groups of 8, 10, 12, just conga lining you through. So that's another one of my biggest gripes about this place.
Right.
But anyway, I'm still going with an 8 out of 10. I still thought it was a really good haunt. I see a lot of places for improvement. And if they improve them, if they improve their line management, you know, spacing, and if they fixed a couple sections that kind of felt thrown together
Out of place,
and actually just went with one centralized theme either through the whole haunt or, you know, did better.
Right.
In the other ones, you know, they'd be even higher rated. But I'm going to go with an 8 for Blood Prison for the 2025 season. You?
I'm sticking with 7.5.
All right. Still a fucking really
Yeah,
good.
not horrible.
Still a good number. Still a great number.
Yeah.
You know, remember a 5 is like middle of the road.
Right.
You know. All right. So T's giving it a 7.5.
Yep.
You got an 8 from me for Blood Prison for the 2025 season. If you make it out there, let us know what you think in the comments, and
Catch you
on
on
to
the next one.
one.